Hello everyone, in this video, I'll be translating and summarizing the latest Urdu broadcast by Moeed Pirzada to make it accessible for our English-speaking audience. Let's go through the key developments and insights in Moeed Pirzada's words. Though it's the weekend outside the Embassy of Pakistan in Washington, D.C., Pakistani Americans who had come not only from across the United States but also from Canada and even some from the United Kingdom held a large demonstration. This was in protest against the visit of Pakistan's Army Chief, General Asim Munir, Field Marshal General Asim Munir, to Washington. I had the opportunity to go there and observe it firsthand. I got to talk to many people, recorded short interviews with a few of them, and I would like to share all those impressions and observations with you. At the same time, I can also tell you that on this very weekend day, the White House officially clarified, and this has now been reported in Indian newspapers, that the perception that Pakistan's Army Chief had been invited to the 250th anniversary celebration of the founding of the US Army was incorrect. It was confirmed that he was not invited. Initially, there was an impression that perhaps he had been invited, along with other military leaders. However, Pakistani media had published nothing on this, while Indian newspapers consistently speculated about it. The White House has now stated that he was not invited, which raises a very interesting and important question. Then who invited Pakistan's Army Chief, General Asim Munir, to Washington, and for what purpose? Before delving into all that, I think the most significant development is the military dynamics between Iran and Israel. On the weekend, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu nearly pleaded and made an appeal that Iran is attacking us, our cities are under attack, and he said that America must officially join this war and save us. I want to share the details of how he made this appeal. I'll try to show you some shorts, what are called sound on tape. The video message is about 3 minutes and a few seconds long, and I'll also try to show short clips of it on screen, demonstrating how he presented it. The tone of Netanyahu's video is clear. He starts by congratulating and wishing former US President Donald Trump on his birthday, then says that Trump has always been a great friend of Israel, has supported it tremendously, and is also a personal friend of his, Netanyahu's. He makes these remarks with such flattery that it's clear he's buttering up Trump, trying to appeal to his ego. And it's now become Trump's weakness. If you want anything from him, you have to flatter him. Then Netanyahu shifts focus to the American military. He says the 250th anniversary of the founding of the US Army is a celebration of a force that has always fought for freedom around the world. He twists this into a justification that Israel is now defending freedom. Not just Israel's freedom, but also America's and the world's. He says, we struck a terrorist state, Iran. We eliminated its military commanders and nuclear scientists. He praises these actions as bold and effective, but now Iran has retaliated and attacked Israeli cities, and they need protection. There is a clear tone of plea, urgency, and appeal. He says, the men and women of the armed services of the United States have protected freedom for half a century. Today, Israel is defending freedom in the Middle East and beyond. Our enemy is your enemy. One interesting thing to notice, which perhaps some of you already have, is that this is exactly the same argument used earlier by India. Specifically, it was first put forward in a press conference by Air Marshal A.K. Bharti, the operational head of India's Air Force, and later repeated by Foreign Minister S. Jaishankar and Shashi Tharoor. Their argument? We are innocent. We only struck a few terrorists in Pakistan. We have no quarrel with the state of Pakistan, but Pakistan's military unjustly attacked us in response. It was presented as if Pakistan's military had no reason to respond. Now compare the logic. Israel and America are using the same justification. We only hit terrorists, but now we're under unjust attack. So what's the game? The game is that Netanyahu and his pro-Israel supporters in America are trying to build a case that this war has escalated to a point where Iran is now the aggressor and Israel the victim once again. For 77 years, since 1948, Israel has always portrayed itself as the victim. Now, within 72 hours, they are twisting the narrative again. Israel is the victim, Iran is the aggressor attacking cities, and America must come to Israel's rescue with full military might. Now I want to show you a few shorts or sound on tape clips. These are not mine. Someone created this montage, and I saw it on Twitter. It begins with Professor John Mearsheimer, a prominent American realist scholar who argues that Israel has always wanted a direct war between Iran and the US. Jeffrey Sachs says the same thing, as does Tucker Carlson and others. The montage includes commentary from them and others like Marjorie Taylor Greene. They all explain how Israel is constantly trying to drag the US into a war with Iran. Let's be clear, this sentiment isn't just from academics or a few critics. From within America, where I am based and thousands of you are as well, there's a large and growing number of voices, media figures, think tanks, congressmen, podcasters like Tucker Carlson and Steve Bannon, and many others. They're all saying Israel is manipulating America into endless wars funded by US taxpayers. What does this reveal? It shows we need a mental shift in understanding. People in Pakistan and even in America often oversimplify by saying America wants this, America did that. But America isn't a single person or entity. That thinking is flawed. In reality, what's happening is a war within America, between competing economic, political and ideological interests. The war Israel is fighting within America is being led by a Zionist lobby and Christian evangelicals who have immense influence over US politics, especially Congress. They want the US to use its power to end the war in Israel's favor and strike Iran. Tucker Carlson, one of the most prominent independent media voices, has described this situation in stark terms. He says this isn't a war between Iran and Israel, it's a war inside America, between warmongers like Sean Hannity and supporters of peace. Sean Hannity, a wealthy media anchor, recently bought or sold a $23 million home. Miriam Adelson, one of Trump's biggest Zionist donors, reportedly gave more than $300 million to Trump's campaign. Elon Musk spent $270 to $275 million. But Adelson gave more, and yet she remains behind the scenes. She's a strong supporter of Israel and wants the US to act militarily against Iran. Meanwhile, the current US ambassador to Israel, Mike Herzog, recently tweeted statements pushing back on people like Tucker Carlson, saying those who claim this isn't our war have forgotten that Israel is fighting America's war. He said 700,000 Americans live in Israel, which many ridiculed, saying that figure is wildly inflated. So the question is, why is America expected to fight this war for Israel? Israel is a major military power. The reason lies in Netanyahu's domestic politics. He launched this war with Iran to secure strategic goals, but has not yet fully achieved them. They've certainly damaged Iran, killed nuclear scientists and military leaders, inflicted casualties, but not enough to fully neutralize Iran's nuclear capabilities. Netanyahu's goal is to emerge victorious so he can call early elections and win them. That's why he prolonged the Gaza war unnecessarily. It's part of his political survival strategy. Haaretz, a major Israeli newspaper, recently reported that Israel's military and air force chiefs told Netanyahu, "We can only achieve substantial, meaningful success in this war if America joins from the beginning." And so, this entire conflict might be a test run pre-approved by Trump. At this point, United States military assets are only intercepting incoming missiles targeting Israel, but are not actively participating in strikes. The expectation was that the full force of the United States military would join the war to defend Israel. Meanwhile, inside Israel, the scenes of destruction are unbelievable. It took me time to do this vlog because each video and image I saw from within Israel showed mangled cars on the roads and destruction that's hard to imagine. Buildings are collapsing, hypersonic and supersonic missiles are hitting buildings. There's an image, specifically from Iran, that shows from the footage how an Iranian hypersonic or supersonic missile hits a high-rise tower, and then the tower crashes and begins to collapse. Initially, I thought this was AI-generated, but I conducted extensive research from various sources, including newspapers, and found that this was not AI-generated. Yes, many people have made AI images. For instance, you might have seen one image showing Israel's airport completely destroyed while planes standing intact in the middle. Those are AI-generated images, but I examined this image very carefully, and after close inspection it became clear that within the past 24 to 36 hours, Iran's ballistic missiles have caused immense destruction inside Israel. Roads are covered in debris, vehicles are buried under rubble, people are crying, ambulances are rushing around. For the past 48 hours, millions of Israelis have been forced to stay in security bunkers with their children, unable to remain in their homes. Many buildings have collapsed and several locations have been hit. Now, the fact that Iran is managing to carry out such attacks despite the challenges is quite significant. To understand this, if I show you Iran's map on screen, you'll realize that Iran shares no border with Israel. Between Iran and Israel lie countries like Syria, Jordan and Iraq. When Iran launches missiles from its own territory toward Israel, the American assets stationed in Iraq, Syria and Jordan, as well as possibly Saudi Arabia, all play a role in intercepting or neutralizing them. Then comes Israel's own Arrow 3 system, followed by David's Sling, and of course the Iron Dome. So, out of 150 missiles launched by Iran, only around 10 to 11 managed to hit Israel, but even those few have caused unimaginable destruction inside Israel. This situation is unprecedented for Israelis, who haven't seen anything like this in decades. Yes, Hamas and Hezbollah have launched rockets before, but those only affected border areas, from which people could be evacuated. But this time, destruction has occurred inside Israel's capital city, Tel Aviv, and this is a first. It has led to a psychological crisis. Now, if you read the New York Times, the Washington Post, or even Israeli newspapers, you'll get some sense of the destruction. But from mainstream American legacy media, you wouldn't know this kind of devastation is occurring in Israel. To understand it properly, you have to spend hours on Twitter, analyzing images and footage, reading statements. Only then will you grasp the scale of chaos currently in Israel. As a result of this, a narrative is being built. I found that since 1991, when Saddam Hussein launched Scud missiles at Israel during the First Gulf War, such a scene has not unfolded inside Israeli cities. Now, Israel's Prime Minister, its citizens, the American ambassador in Israel, and many Zionists have built an argument. We are only attacking Iran's military targets. We targeted their nuclear facilities, but they are attacking our innocent civilians. But what is the reality? The reality is that Israel, which always accused Hamas of using human shields, hiding fighters in hospitals, creating tunnels under buildings, has itself placed its military headquarters, called Hakiria, inside a densely populated civilian area in Tel Aviv, where thousands of Israeli soldiers and officers are always present. Similarly, Mossad's headquarters and Unit 8200, which handles telecommunication and espionage, are also located in civilian areas. This Unit 8200, just like some of our own intelligence agencies, hires people who pretend to be anything: Muslims, Christians, Hindus, Pakistanis, Balokis, to deceive the world. That same Unit 8200 has been directly targeted by Iranian missiles. A good example is the Weizmann Institute. Israel claimed this was just a university and research center, and Iran unjustly hit it. But in reality, it was a key military research institute assisting the Israeli Defense Forces in AI, drones, weapons and military applications. It suffered significant damage from Iranian missile strikes. That shows that Iran fired highly accurate missiles. Some images now show that the Israeli Defense Forces have set up operational centers in hospital basements, the very thing they used to accuse Hamas of doing. This raises further ethical questions. Now it is being said that Israel faces an existential threat and America must step in to protect them. This argument is being pushed so forcefully that, while I hope it doesn't happen, I fear Israel might take it to the extent of using nuclear devices against Iran, claiming that the existential threat justifies it. Ironically, the same nuclear issue, stopping Iran from developing nuclear weapons, might now end with a nuclear strike on Iran. Now, regarding the way forward, I believe Russia and China can play an important role. China's ambassador to the UN has taken a clear stance. He condemned Israel's attack on Iran's nuclear facilities and said Israel has crossed a red line. Russia's position is similar. President Putin spoke for 50 minutes with Donald Trump, and both Kremlin and United States sides released readouts showing the discussion was predominantly about Iran and the Middle East. Putin strongly condemned Israel's attack and said this situation could escalate dangerously and must be stopped. Trump agreed. Russia has offered to mediate and claims to have spoken with both Iranian and Israeli leaderships. So this is a possible path forward. Pressure Iran back to the negotiating table. But Iran is in a difficult position, as seen in an interview by an Iranian professor with Yalda Hakim when she asked, "Why doesn't Iran return to negotiations?" The professor replied, "We were already negotiating when we were attacked." Now, Israel has also signaled that anyone can be targeted, including Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, who is now allegedly on Israel's assassination list. Israeli analysts suggest Netanyahu's real aim wasn't just bombs. He wants to create such conditions that the Islamic regime in Iran collapses, a full regime change operation, and for that, he's hoping for an insurgency inside Iran. On Twitter, the Iranian diaspora, especially royalists and opposition groups in the United States, United Kingdom and Europe, are activating, claiming that Israel's war is in the interest of Iranians. They are sharing videos saying, "We are waiting to be freed from the current regime." In the United States, protests against Donald Trump were held in over 2,000 towns and cities across 50 states under the slogan, "No king, we do not accept a monarch." People say Trump is turning himself into a king above the law, defying courts and legal frameworks, especially how he's handling immigration and other issues. In California alone, thousands were arrested. In cities like San Diego, nearly 200,000 people protested. All this is putting increased pressure on Trump. In the past 24 hours, he also ordered, on the recommendation of his Agriculture Secretary, that the immigration raids in hotels, restaurants and farms be reduced or stopped. This prompted people to joke again. Trump is a taco. Trump always chickens out. Taco. Now, let's talk about the Pakistani protest. As I mentioned earlier, outside the Pakistani embassy, Pakistani Americans held one of the largest protests ever seen. Organizers estimated that between 3 p.m. and 8 p.m., around 4,000 to 5,000 people from all over the United States participated. People came from far away: Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, Toronto, Ottawa, even the United Kingdom, not just from Maryland, Virginia, DC or Miami. Everyone believed in one cause, the cause of democracy in Pakistan. They protested against the US welcoming Pakistan Army Chief General Asim Munir, or at least urged the US to pressure him. Nobody was sure exactly when Munir would arrive. Some thought he arrived in Washington between the 12th and 13th from Abu Dhabi. Others believed he'd arrive on the night of the 14th and would meet Trump's team on the 15th, including Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, NSA, Secretary of Defense Pete Hex, and perhaps even Trump himself. Now, it would be highly unusual for a US president to meet a foreign army chief, unless that general is also a head of state. But because Trump operates differently, it's not impossible. One major topic on the agenda is expected to be Pakistan's relationship with China and also perhaps internal Pakistani politics. Trump's team may raise questions about the political climate in Pakistan. As of now, General Munir didn't attend any dinner on the night of the 14th, as some expected. But it is likely that on the 18th, he will meet with the Pakistani diaspora and community at the embassy. That wraps up our translation of Moeed Pirzada's video. I hope this English version helped you understand his message better. Please like, share and subscribe to Awami Lens to help our community grow. Don't forget to leave a comment below and let me know what you thought of this effort.